Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. After the trust vote in the Uttarakhand Assembly, Supreme Court will declare the verdict tomorrow. Congress MLAs claim victory. Rakesh Ranjan Yadav, alias Rocky Yadav, arrested for allegedly shooting dead a 20-year-old youth who overtook his vehicle. The Bihar police also recovered the murder weapon. Cutting across party lines, members express concern over paid news in the Rajya Sabha. The government underscores need for a structured debate to combat the menace. An anti-crime contestant, Rodrigo Duterte, wins the Philippine election by a clear margin, promises to continue his tough stance as president. Our top story this evening, the Supreme Court monitored vote of confidence in the Uttarakhand Assembly concluded today. The result was sealed in an envelope that will be announced by the court tomorrow morning. The voting took place for the 62 seats as the 9 disqualified MLAs were not allowed to take part in the voting.
The Supreme Court directed trust vote in the Uttarakhand Assembly took place as scheduled on Tuesday. The result that will be declared by the court on Wednesday will end the nearly 2-month-long political impasse in the hill state. With the 9 disqualified MLAs kept away, the Congress claimed to have clinched the numbers. Party leaders said 33 MLAs voted for Rawat, while BJP MLAs conceded their side got only 28. The House has an effective strength of 61.
मतदान हुआ और सब सदस्यों ने जिन्होंने भाग लिया मैं सबको धन्यवाद देता हूं। सबसे बढ़ करके मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट को बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि कल अनिश्चय के बादल छट जाएंगे, स्थितियां स्पष्ट हो जाएंगी।
The voting started in a dramatic fashion with the rebel BJP legislator Bhimlal Arya switching over to the Congress side. At the same time, Congress MLA Rekha Arya seemed to have crossed over to the BJP. Minutes before the floor test, however, BSP chief Mayawati announced her support to the Congress. The BSP has 2 seats in Uttarakhand. It's also a part of the 6-member Progressive Democratic Front that pledged support for Rawat.
हमारी पार्टी जो है देश में खास तौर से सांप्रदायिक ताकतों को कमजोर करने के लिए आप लोग हमारा स्टैंड अच्छी प्रकार से जानते हैं, तो हमारी पार्टी उधर कांग्रेस पार्टी के समर्थन में ही वोट देगी.
The tone of the BJP leaders also indicated that the Congress would have gathered the numbers to win.
I do believe that if the 9 rebel MLAs were allowed to vote, the numbers would have been totally different and the outcome would have been different. We have always accepted the verdict of the Supreme Court in the past and tomorrow as well. I do, however, believe that this sting operation shows you Harish Rawat and the Congress party's low political strategy, and the public of this country knows who the victorious are and who the defeated are.
The result that has been delivered sealed in an envelope will be presented to the Supreme Court on Wednesday morning, after which it will be announced. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's now also listen into some other political reactions that came in on the story.
The democracy has won. There were, number of people tried to suppress the democracy, but I would like to congratulate the Supreme Court that it is because of Supreme Court that it was made possible that we can have a floor test in Uttarakhand Assembly.
We have not hastened anything. They could not get the appropriation bill passed. And now, after that, what all they have done, they have been thoroughly exposed. You have seen two videos coming out, how money was offered, how all unscrupulous and immoral things have been done. Everything is there in public domain, and we have not formed any government.
किसी पार्टी की जीत की बात नहीं करता हूं, मैं लोकतंत्र की जीत की बात करूंगा. अगर हम लोकतंत्र को मानते हैं, तो विधानसभा हो, लोकसभा हो, फ्लोर टेस्ट बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट होती है. अगर ये पहले हो जाता, तो जो तमाशा हुआ, वो नहीं होता और प्रतिष्ठा सबकी रहती.
Now, cutting across party lines, members in the Rajya Sabha today expressed concern over paid news on Tuesday, claiming that paid news will weaken the democratic fabric of the nation. The government underscored the need for a structured debate to combat the perils of paid news.
associate will be ordered.
Vijay Goyal of the BJP raised the issue of paid news during 0 hour in the Rajya Sabha. Stating that it affected the credibility of media houses, Goyal alleged that media outlets were being paid to carry information without any authentic disclosure.
पहले तो ये पेड न्यूज के मामले आते थे इलेक्शनों के बीच के अंदर, जिसमें ये नहीं पता चलता था कि भाई खबर है कि खबरों में समाचार है या ये सरकारों के विज्ञापन है। पर अब मुझे बड़ा देख के ताज्जुब हो रहा है कि पिछले दिनों के अंदर सारे नामी ग्रामी अखबारों के अंदर जिस तरीके से न्यूज के पन्ने आते हैं, कोई इसको एडिटोरियल कहता है, कोई इसको कंज्यूमर कनेक्ट कहता है, कोई कुछ कहता है, उससे पाठक को यही नहीं पता चलता कि ये अखबार में समाचार आ रहे हैं या सरकार के विज्ञापन है।
The Congress, the JDU, the SP and the CPIM urged the government to make paid news not just a punishable offence, but also liable to serious penalties.
ये सही है कि मीडिया की एक अहम भूमिका है देश के प्रजातंत्र के अंदर, लोगों को समाचार देने में, लोगों को जानकारी देने में, पर अगर वो पैसे के आधार पर होगी, इससे लोग गुमराह होंगे, प्रभावित होंगे और ये अपने आप में एक अनहेल्दी प्रैक्टिस है।
ओनली प्रिंट मीडिया का सवाल नहीं है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया भी चाहे जिसका सर्वे निकाल के जिसको जिता दे, जिसको हरा दे। एक अगर एक लोगों का मीडिया पे इतना विश्वास है, उसके बाद अगर मीडिया इस तरह पेड होकर एलो जर्नलिस्ट कर रहा है, तो मैं नेता सदन से कहूंगा कोई ना कोई तो आचरण समझना नहीं, कहीं ना कहीं।
Paid news cause is actually a blot on democracy. We are not allowing people to choose freely what they want to do. It has become a big racket, a business, and unless you have some regulation about this, our democracy cannot work.
Terming paid news as an aberration, Information and Broadcasting Minister Arun Jaitley called for a structured debate on the issue.
Advertising is the right of everyone. But when governments start excessively advertising, where is the dividing line between excessive advertisement and bribery? This can also happen, and therefore this is an important subject to which we must find a solution.
Even the chair admitted the seriousness of the issue, while members across the political spectrum agreed to hold discussion on the ways to curb paid news. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now on to news about the Augusta Westland chopper deal case. A team of Enforcement Directorate officials is likely to soon travel to a few countries to seek expedition of the process of replies to its judicial requests issued in the case. The team is likely to visit Singapore in this regard. The agency has already issued follow-up requests on its letter rogatories to at least 10 countries in connection with the money laundering case it has registered to probe the Augusta Westland deal. The countries include Tunisia, Italy, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, the United Arab Emirates, Mauritius, Israel, Finland, Singapore and Denmark. Meanwhile, the CBI also summoned Advocate Gautam Khaitan, IDS Infotech Managing Director Pratap Agarwal and Aeromatrix CEO Praveen Bakshi in the scan. Now, Rakesh Ranjan Yadav, alias Rocky Yadav, the son of the ruling Janata Dal United MLC Manorma Devi, who allegedly shot dead a 20-year-old youth for overtaking his vehicle, was arrested from his father's mixer plant in the district today. Police have also recovered the weapon used in the crime.
Rocky Yadav, son of ruling Janata Dal United legislator Manorma Devi, arrested 3 days after he allegedly shot dead a teenage boy for overtaking his luxury SUV in Gaya district. Rocky was picked up in Bodh Gaya in the wee hours of Tuesday from a house that belongs to his father, Bindi Yadav.
Since the incident happened, we have been conducting a lot of investigation, we have been conducting raids, and in the sequence of those raids, the main named FIR accused was arrested today early morning. We are completely bound to ensuring that people who are accused in the case, people who are found guilty in the case, they are not able to intimidate the family members of the victim in any way, and we would ensure that as a district.
Notwithstanding police's claim that he had confessed to the crime, Rocky pleaded innocence before the media.
कहीं कहीं कोई छिपने की कहीं कोई बात नहीं थे। हम दिल्ली में थे, हमारे माता जी बुलाएं और एसपी साहब के सामने हम आत्मसमर्पण कर चुके। गोली मारी ही नहीं है।
Rocky Yadav is accused to have shot dead class 12 student Aditya Sachdev, allegedly for overtaking his SUV near police lines in Gaya district on Saturday night. Rocky's father Bindi Yadav and Rajesh Kumar, the bodyguard of his MLC mother, was sent to 14-day judicial custody for abetting his escape. Shortly after the incident, the opposition BJP turned up the heat, claiming that the Jungle Raj had returned to the state under the rule of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi today cancelled his two-day visit to the poor-bound South Indian states of Puducherry, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Gandhi made the announcement in a series of tweets citing health reasons. Yesterday, top Congress leaders had met Home Minister Rajnath Singh seeking adequate security to the party Vice President after an unsigned letter threatening to attack Rahul Gandhi was received by Puducherry Congress unit leaders. Rahul was scheduled to hold a rally of the Congress-DMK alliance at Karyakal in Puducherry today. The Banda district in the Bundelkhand region of Uttar Pradesh is in the grip of a severe drought. Take a look at this ground report by Arvind Kumar Singh.
On the Banda-Chitrakoot border stands the Rasin Dam. Built at a cost of 77 crore rupees, it waters lands that are owned by 850 farmers in these surrounding areas. Many of them got an indifferent compensation for giving up land to build it. The water was to have made their fields lush with crops, but instead of irrigation, it ended up promoting pisciculture. These days, the 5,000 residents of Rasin village are going through an extraordinary period of farm distress.
हमारे यहाँ किसानों की बड़ी दयनीय स्थिति है और यहाँ पर भूखमरी की कगार पर ज़्यादातर किसान हैं। जिन खेतों में हम लोगों को 150 मन गल्ला मिलता था, आज वहाँ 2-4 मन नहीं निकला है।
Banda district has a population of 15 lakh people who are all facing a drought and water crisis. Under the Food Safety Act, the government has started distributing food grains, but the rising number of farmers who are on the verge of starvation are posing a challenge to the government's machinery. Narayani and Jaspura Pilani areas are the worst affected. Arbitrary distribution and outright loot is affecting the drought relief measures.
सूखा राहत की ये स्थितियां हैं कि हमारे यहाँ से राहत पैकेट जो आया है बांदा में, समाजवादी राहत पैकेट है और 1290 रुपए का राहत पैकेट है, लेकिन वो 1900 रुपए में बेचा जा रहा है उस किसान के दरवाजे तक या तयशुदा मानकों के आधार पर जो उनके हिसाब से खरे उतर रहे हैं। टैंकर और राहत पैकेट उन्हीं गाँव में भेजे जा रहे हैं जहाँ से सपा के प्रत्याशी डिक्लेयर हो गए हैं।
In the Bundelkhand region, Banda district has seen the highest number of farmer suicides. In many of these 330 cases, evidently the tipping point has been farm distress. Only the revenue department doesn't think so. The drought has further left farmers with no resources to employ any farm labor. The quantum of relief that they get from the government is too little to make a difference.
लगभग अगर हमारे यहाँ 100 बीघे ज़मीन है तो 100 बीघे में से ज़्यादा 40 बीघे में गेहूँ हुआ, बाकी वो ऐसे पड़ती पड़ा हुआ है। मतलब 20% गेहूँ पैदा हुआ, 80% सूखा आ रहा है। हाँ, कुछ एरिया ऐसा है कि वहाँ तो हुआ ही नहीं है।
At 47 degrees centigrade, the mercury is rising in Banda district. So did the political climate. After the recent death of a Dalit due to water scarcity, when the state government tried to hush up the matter, a news report of a similar instance came from Lalitpur. Clearly improving relief measures is the need of the hour. Arvind Kumar Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
At least a dozen farmers were injured in a clash with police personnel in the drought-hit district of Banda today. Farmers from Bundelkhand region gathered in the district to carry out a peaceful protest against the district administration when clashes erupted after the police baton charged them. The authorities assured that the reasonable demands of farmers would be met.
बुंदेलखंड में बदहाली है, बेकारी है, भय भ्रष्टाचार है। बुंदेलखंड का नौजवान, बेरोजगार, मजदूर, किसान, व्यापारी एक तरह से देखा जाए तो समूचा बुंदेलखंड मरने के कगार पर है। भूखों लोग मर रहे हैं, कर्ज से मर रहे हैं, लेकिन सरकारें उसको नकार रही हैं।
इनकी 20 मांगे थी, तो हमने इनको आश्वस्त किया है कि जिला प्रशासन के माध्यम से जो भी मांगे इनकी पूरी होने लायक हैं, उनको हम लोग प्रयास करेंगे।
Now, in the latest edition of the Panama Leaks, nearly 2,000 individuals, entities and addresses with links to India surfaced on Monday, giving information on offshore holding of companies in tax havens. After a huge database of documents relating to more than 2 lakh offshore accounts were posted online, a random check of the database for India displays about 22 offshore entries, 1,046 officers or individual links, 42 intermediaries and as many as 828 addresses within the country. The database has around 30,000 documents listed with Indian links. Names and addresses put up on the website of the body not only shows identities of some of the individuals and addresses along with the description of the companies held, but also specifies the date of incorporation of the firms in some cases. Some more national news and updates in Nationwide. 3 persons were injured on Monday when a tree fell on them at Badnagar area as the hailstorm and rain played spoil sport at the second Shahi Snan. A large number of devotees were seen scurrying for cover as the weather turned hostile. Around 30 lakh people took the holy dip in the Shipra River. The Supreme Court on Tuesday directed the Maharashtra government to give license to 8 dance bars within 2 days, pointing out that while it was incumbent upon the state to curb obscenity, the court said it could not target a profession while doing so. The National Green Tribunal on Tuesday relaxed norms for tourist hotspots in the Rohtang Pass and Manali. The NGT permitted paragliding and snow scooters in a limited number. While it increased the number of petrol vehicles to Rohtang every day, it refused to raise the number of diesel vehicles. An earthquake measuring 5.3 on the Richter scale hit the Andaman and Nicobar Islands last night. The quake struck at 9:33 p.m. at a depth of 10 kilometers. There were no immediate reports of loss of life or property. Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Some international news now, and 1 person was killed and 3 others were injured in a knife attack at a German railway station near Munich today. The assailant attacked 4 commuters during rush hour at the Grafing station in eastern Munich. One of the victims died in hospital. The 27-year-old suspect was eventually overpowered by police. According to witnesses, the man shouted Allahu Akbar, but the motive for the attack is unclear. The German police is also investigating a possible Islamist connection. The suspect was identified as a German national, apparently from the Hessen area of central Germany. Rodrigo Duterte, a man dubbed by his rivals as an executioner, has won the presidency in Philippines by a clear margin. Duterte polled nearly twice as many votes as his nearest rivals. His record as the crime-crushing mayor of the southern town of Davao earned him the name of the Punisher. Now that seems to have resonated with voters. He promised to continue his tough stance as president.
Called by turns the Punisher, the Dictator and even the anti-crime candidate, firebrand Mayor Rodrigo Duterte is set to clinch the Philippines presidency. Although the official results have not been declared, the writing is on the wall after withdrawal of Duterte's opponents. With 90% of the presidential ballots counted, Duterte had close to 39%.
I wanted to congratulate candidates who have already conceded. I think that is a good tradition in order to bring down the political tension. If a candidate believes that he or she no longer has the chance to win, I think that the proper thing to do is to concede.
Earlier, Duterte's closest rival, Mar Roxas, conceded defeat after the polls predicted Duterte's win. The presidential poll saw a record turnout at the polling stations, with over 81% of the 54 million registered voters casting their ballot. Senators and about 18,000 local officials, including mayors, are also being elected. While being the vice mayor and the mayor of southern city of Davao, President-to-be Duterte has the reputation of being a strict disciplinarian. However, human rights groups pointed out that as Davao mayor, he is accused of allowing death squads to murder hundreds of alleged criminals.
Tingnan po natin kasi hindi pa naman natin nalalaman kung magaling magdala si Dikong. At marami naman po siyang mga sinasabi na kaya niyang ipaunlad ang Pilipinas. Yun na po.
Matanda na po ako, 60 na po ako, sir. Sana po, sa sumusunod pang kabataan, sana ayusin niya yung Pilipinas. Siyempre, yung mga ganyang edad natin, meron pa mga ibang sibol. Sana po, sir.
It will be interesting how Duterte's crime-busting, tough-talking and action-oriented ways could bring about a change in the political scenario in Philippines. Duterte has promised to weed out corruption and a change from a centralized system to a federal parliamentary form of government. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more international news now in Global Buzz. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani's kidnapped son was recovered from Afghanistan on Tuesday in a joint operation by the US and Afghan forces. Ali Haider Gilani was recovered from the Ghazni province. Ali was kidnapped by gunmen in Multan on the 9th of May 2013. The impeachment process against Brazil's President Dilma Rousseff is back on track. In a surprise move, the acting Speaker of the lower house revoked his decision to suspend a crucial vote. The Senate will vote on Wednesday on the impeachment trial, and if Rousseff loses, she will be suspended for the trial's duration. Thousands of North Koreans held a rally marking the end of the first Workers' Party Congress in the last 36 years. Kim Jong-un has been elevated to the role of party chairman, and Kim's sister, Kim Yo-jong, has been elected to the ruling committee during the Congress. In Canada, Alberta's provincial premier, Rachel Notley, says 90% of the buildings in the evacuated Canadian city of Fort McMurray have survived the massive wildfire. The hospital and most schools are intact, but 2,400 out of 25,000 structures have been burnt. The attempts to contain the wildfires reached a turning point on Monday because of drizzle and favorable winds. Iran successfully test-fired a medium-range ballistic missile capable of striking US forces in the region as well as Israel. It is the third such test since the nuclear agreement with Western nations took effect in January. Some sports news now, and BCCI President Shashank Manohar resigned from his post amid reports that he may become the first independent chairman of the International Cricket Council. The move comes after the ICC's executive board passed a rule that its chairman should be of independent nature and can't act in a dual role, keeping his position as his country's cricketing chief. Manohar is BCCI's nominated chairman in ICC. He'd taken over the BCCI president after the demise of Jagmohan Dalmia in October 2015. This was his second stint as the head of the cricketing body. Some more sports action and sports beat. The Indo-Swiss duo of Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis continue to lead the latest women's doubles rankings released by WTA. Sania and Hingis, who have won 13 titles together, including 4 this year, maintained their joint position with 12,045 points each. Andy Murray has lost the world number 2 spot to Roger Federer in the latest ATP rankings. After Murray's defeat to Novak Djokovic in the Madrid Masters final, Federer displaced him from the number 2 spot. A University of Leicester team which installed a seismometer near the King Power Stadium reported 2 minor quakes with a magnitude of 0.4 on Saturday night. Goals by Jamie Vardy and Andy King notched up quakes of 0.4 magnitude. Fans of Leicester City's final home game of the season caused the biggest earth tremors recorded at the ground. That's all from us. Goodbye.